Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield.
Good evening, gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the BFFL preview show, the BFFL show, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't really have a name, kind of ambiguous at this point in time. Just know it's my face and hopefully on your screen. Only had a few. Definitely didn't have the whole league watch last week. Come on, boys, we need to step it up. I'm going to post on the Yahoo board as well this week. Make sure everybody sees it, getting in on this content right here. I do not want people missing out on the quality of things that yours truly is putting out here. All right, so enough about that. Let's get into our the show right here. So 5-2 last week in my picks, pretty dang good. Billy Baseball, take note. All right, that's how a pro does it. All right, you're still working your way to my level. It's okay. You'll be there one day. Clearly, the boys down south in the BFFL, they're rocking the first 2 weeks, with the exception of BG and Egghead right now, but. They need to get their shit straight, and they'll be all right overall. But like I said, they have 3 undefeated teams, while the squads up north, out west, well, those boys only got 1, and that's cease and desist right there. Well, this team up north is looking, or the boys down south have 2 snaps, twist, and a kiss, large annual deferrals, and the commish with their undefeated records. So, speaking of that, undefeated, if I'm not mistaken, the BFFL 3 matchups last week, 3-0 versus the Heaters. So, Billy, you better give your boys a little pep talk right there, because we're laying down some smack right here. They weren't ready for this. And, they got time to show what they have, because we have 5 of those cross-division rivalry matchups this week. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into them. And I want to start at the top with our matchup of the week right here. Our two of our 4 undefeated teams right here. Team number 2 versus team number 3 per Yahoo. That would be Code Nobes and Large Annual Deferrals versus Cease and Desist. Large Annual Deferrals. Looking at your squad, looked like you had a bye last week. And then upon further review, it was not actually a bye. You played B Green, so I'm 2-1 right there, if you will. Sorry, B Green, but that's how it is right now. But it didn't matter who you played. It looked like when you have Marcell Ozuna doing Marcell Ozuna things, pretending the second half of last year is just carrying over to the first half of this year. The man is on a damn mission. He's got to get paid one more time, so he's obviously kicked it up a notch. Contract years can be a valuable thing for you. Just like, something valuable for you must be Byron Buxton. I see you have acquired him in a trade for Hae-Sung Kim. And just a little under the radar, a couple mid-level players. Not every deal has to be a blockbuster right there. One injury-riddled star for one guy who can play every day and who's going to be, 12th to 15th best position player at any point in time. And if only Snellzilla didn't suck last week, dude, you might have, if the upset would have been even, the beatdown on Beagren would have been even worse. Not an upset. That was you were clearly the favorite there. But no, you could have definitely just put it over the top and put the beat down on him even more. He probably appreciates that you did not. Cease and desist. Speaking of putting the smackdown on somebody, wow, 11-3 romp fest over the Springfield Isotopes last week. That's a shellacking right there. Some of that thanks to Big Mike Trout. Woo, isn't he a thing of beauty right now? I hope you are thoroughly enjoying him every single day that he is on your team. I also hope and pray that you are potentially sending out trade offers for him. Maybe some guys in the league will be foolish enough, thinks he's going to play all year, 162, 152. I'm thinking maybe like 102. But that's just me. I'm no guy that knows things about baseball. All right. I do know that Willie Adames must have gotten his vision checked or something like that, because, man, he is seeing some things right now. Wow. Like, he is cranking it. Top 100 player at his position. Wouldn't have thought that. And, man, the pitching staff is looking good, minus the guy that you spent all your money on you thought was going to be your ace. Zach Eflin, he has kind of crapped the bed for you thus far, but everybody else is just lifting him up, doing your thing, and that's why you're undefeated. Unfortunately for you, I believe your undefeated streak ends this week versus Cody Nobles, so I'm picking Large Annual Deferrals in this matchup. All right, so moving on to our next, another cross-division rivalry here. We've got 2 snaps and a twist versus the Lollygaggers. We're going from the matchup of the week to my previously mentioned last week, the lack up of the week, because we've got one of the best teams versus the dead last place team. I could have saved this lack up of the week for another matchup, but I opted against that and said, you know what, Anthony, you should go ahead and set your roster today, kick back and relax, because if you've been playing anywhere near as well as you have the first 2 weeks, man, sorry, lollygaggers, you don't have a shot right here. I mean, the dominating of Billy Baseball last week, 14 home runs, 118 total bases. I mean, at 302 average, that's crazy numbers right there. Sub 2.2 ERA, below 1 WHIP. I mean, all but 2 regulars hit a home run. Anthony, what magic shooting star, what rainbow, what unicorn ass did you rub to get this luck, to win the football league and then to come out guns a-blazing like this in the baseball league? Nobody saw this coming, all right? And Billy Baseball's even giving you props. Oh, man, I'm sure you're just licking your chops waiting for the time you play Rymart, because I know he's going to get some Big Ant smack talk if you're still playing this well when you meet up. Speaking of playing well, we can at least acknowledge some players on the Lollygaggers. His team overall might not be well, but if I had a beer right now, it'd be a Busch Light, because Michael Busch and Vinny Pascantino, they did the work last week for your team, man. 5 home runs, 14 RBIs combined between those two. You still got thumped. That's unfortunate. You have Spencer Steer on your team, one of the league leaders in RBIs. So you just ran into a buzzsaw, dude. You just ran into a buzzsaw last week. You probably, and if my calculations are correct, which they normally are because I make them just off the cuff, you would have beaten about 10 other teams last week. So it's just unfortunate and you got thumped, but I don't see it getting any better for you this week. You're playing another buzzsaw, just ready to just mow through the competition. I'm picking another BFFL win versus the boys up north, as I'm going to call them, the boys out west, and 2 snaps and a twist is going to take it from Lollygaggers. All right, moving on now. We've got, once again, another cross-division rivalry here. Fat Bottom Girls versus Funky Cheese right here. So, Rymart versus Billy Baseball. Rymart, you picked up probably the ugliest first win of the season in a long, long time right there, man. 233 average, 696 OPS, 671 ERA, and you still won somehow. Like, you just need to be thankful that you were playing Mr. Egghead, who was equally dreadful as you. With Jake Berger out with the intercostal oblique deal going on, dude, might be time for you to scour the market for a third baseman, because what you have in Eugenio Suarez, if you're banking on that, oh god, you just want that 233 to become a 223 and that OPS to become a 676 right there. So we know he's not the same Eugenio he was in Cincinnati or in Seattle earlier in his career. He's just a strikeout bum machine right there. So while you're scouring the market, make time, have a talk with your pitching staff, because good God, so damn ugly last week. To have a 6.71 ERA for a whole week, I can't place the blame on 1 or 2 players like other squads get the blame. Everybody on your team, everybody that threw a baseball, even if it was from the outfield to a second baseman cutoff throw, shit, just utter shit. So be better this week if you want to have a chance to pick up a second dub. I know Billy Baseball is going to be looking for some, licking his wounds, if you will, after getting that ugly beat down last week right there. But he added some pop, got O'Neal Cruz. Some might call him Shaquille O'Neal Cruz. I might have just coined that phrase. I'm sure it's never been said before. But with the bang he's got, he might as well be Shaq up at the plate. Colton Cowser, Billy, I mean, you talk about a godsend to your team right now. I know it's still early, but Colton's looking like he got it figured out from last year, dude. And that could be a real diamond in the rough that's going to help your team. It's good that he plays the outfield, because, well, I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter in this regard, because nobody wants Nick Castellanos. Quit trying to trade Nick Castellanos to every single league member in the 13 other teams. Nobody wants him. All right? Just stop. Just hold him and wait for him to stop sucking. But please stop trying to peddle him off on other teams. All right? I do look for you to rebound this week. I do look for you to continue to peddle Nick Castellanos trade offers and also other trade offers that are somewhat good, somewhat bad. You know, it's a little bit of whatever you're feeling. But I also do predict you to be the first one to collect a victory against one of the BFFL boys right there. So, Funky Cheese, I expect you to beat Fat Bottom Girls, rather, in this week's matchup. All right, let's go to our fourth intra-division rivalry. And if I might have called this one first, who knows if Billy would have been the first one I predict to win. But we got Almost Made a Sale versus Isotopes right here. Scrub Central. Maybe it's JD versus Turk if you want to think about it like that. But we've got two dudes that looking quite pathetic coming out the gates right there. Another week, B Green. I mean, you had lost by Thursday. I mean, I'm sorry to say it. It happened in week 1, happened in week 2. It's just over. You might as well just not look at your phone Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Just call it what it is. O's very, very pitiful right now, but the pitching is at least very respectable. In the pitching department, though, literally 1 week ago, I sat here and said, oh, if it comes to innings pitched and K per 9, nobody's better than B Green. It's always going to win those 2 categories, and you fucking lost those 2 categories. You're making me look bad. You're making me look bad. I want you to think about that. Get yourself together, get your staff together, and maybe find somebody that can hit a baseball past the third baseman. All right, that's all I'm asking out of you. All right, Springfield Isotopes, what I'm asking out of you is to learn how to hit because you can clearly pitch. All right, I mean, the IL might be a thing right there that you're still trying to figure out. We've talked about that, but good God almighty, man, that team just can't hit. When you've got your 2 best players going to combine 5 for 47 over the week in Bryce Harper and Julio Rodriguez, you're not going to win. Now, obviously, that's not going to continue all season, but if you don't have anybody to pick them up, then you might as well not have them at all. Because when they're good, they're going to be great. They're still not going to be enough to carry your crap squad anywhere into the playoffs. All right, and I say this with a little bit of anger, seeing as how you knocked me out of the playoffs last year, so I might be a little biased towards your team. Whatever you sparkled over Starling Marte to make him a playable player, the one day I owned him, he went 0 for 8 with 4 strikeouts. You somehow gotten a player that looks like Starling Marte from 2020 at least. You know, he can hit the ball. He might even steal a base or 2. Might even hit a dinger. I don't know, it sounds crazy. So, use some of that magic on Bryce and Julio if you want to have a chance for success in this league. Otherwise, just keep doing what you're doing and keep sucking. I'd be down with that too. It'd make me feel better. Once again, just out of spite. And just out of spite, I'm picking B Green to pick up his first dub. B Green, don't let me down. You let me down last week. You'll probably let me down this week, but I really hope not. All right, and moving on to our last and final and finito intra-division, cross-division rivalry. We've got the Commish versus Smell the Glove. Smell the Glove coming off a tough loss, but we all knew Savdog was trying to do something last week. I said he's got to fix this shitty start he was on, and by God, he went ahead and fixed that shitty start by picking up a victory. To compensate, he went out and you made what good managers do. You tweaked the team, got rid of your second baseman, brought in an outfielder. Great second baseman for a great outfielder. One of those rare times where both team kind of gets what they want. I think one player's 33, one player's 34 in the Yahoo rankings. So that's pretty damn stealthy right there. You're going to need Kyle Tucker, especially. I saw Tyler O'Neill, possible concussion. We know how those things can linger. We know Tyler O'Neill is already an injury candidate right there every time he's on the field. So just something to watch out for right there. Smell the glove. It's going to be a tough week for you this week as you go against the Commission, one of the few undefeated teams. But if you hit the ball at all, then you should be good against him. The man couldn't get an OPS over 700 last week. Batting average was a rough 233, although it's still won in his matchups, and only 78 total bases over a 1 week span. Good God, what is that squad up to? I don't know. Pitching staff, though, looking pretty solid. Squeaking by that bare minimum each week. Just sweating it out on Sundays, hoping nobody gets injured and the games don't get canceled or else you're super screwed. Not always going to fly for you, Commish. You better hope that Brian Wu or Garrett Cole or Max Scherzer or Paul Skeens come back to a Major League Baseball field near me sometime soon. Because you can't just keep spot starting James Paxton out there week after week. But what I can do, though, is continue to pick myself to win week after week, which is what I'm going to do here, as the BFFL is predicted to pick up another victory over the Heaters League. All right, 2 to go. Let's knock it out. We got Egghead versus Off Constantly. We've got 2 BFFL squads going at it right here. Egghead lost 7-6 last week. One of the categories you lost, K per 9, 891 to 868. Man, I wonder if there was a way that could have been remedied if something wouldn't have happened. Damn, you talk about some definite cause and effect right there. That Spencer Strider injury definitely cost you winning Ks per 9. I'm so sorry about that. I promise I won't mention it week after week in order to just pour salt in the wound, but I will mention it week after week after non-week after week after non-week and after week again. But in reality, though, Spencer Strider couldn't help this offense. 63 total bases, man. 63, 7 days. I don't, even Douglas County math tells me that that's 9 total bases per day. That's just God. And only 3 dudes hit double-digit bases. That's embarrassing. Bohm, Betts, and Lane Train Thomas right there. So while you are having a chat with your offense, figuring things out, trying to right the ship, you also might want to check on your boy George Kirby, because for a dude that was supposed to be a potential Cy Young top 5 at least, woo, baby, I'd be getting real concerned that there's an elbow or a shoulder or something, because his numbers past couple weeks, ERA over 15 in 2 consecutive starts. You can't bank on that. You need something better, especially with Strider right not being around. Off constantly, you heard my words last week. You heeded my advice, and you got off the schneid and picked up that W, and I was very proud of you for that, especially beating one of the Heaters boys. You just heard me, and you layeth the smacketh down, as some of our best comrades and fan favorites like to say. Your 2 young guns were just leading the smoke show last week. Ellie and Bobby, 6 home runs combined, would have tied 8 other teams. 8 other teams had as many home runs as those 2 dudes did. Your strategy looks smart. Buy young, hold those boys, and just rock and roll with them. You can't complain about the results thus far. I would love to acquire one of those players, though. Send me an offer, and I'll be happy to try to wheel and deal. I could use people that have legs used for stealing bases. That would be fantastic. Not sure what's up with your staff right now. Not staff dog standards. You're going to need to look into that. This week, though, it won't really matter who's on your staff, because your offense is good enough to beat Jaycock hands down. Jaycock, year of the stash seems like such a thing in the past. I really had high hopes for you. Sadly, they're not coming to fruition. All right, so let's go to our last matchup of the week. We've got Moneyball versus That'll Do Pig. That'll Do Pig, man, woo, that's the team I expected to see. Came out dominant fashion last week. Dominant offense, 12 dingers, 115 total bases. If it weren't for Anthony Matthews, this would have been the team of the week from last week. They heard what I said. They got pissed off. Brandon Nimmo he just went to spit in my face. He's like, I've heard your shit talk about this outfield, blah, blah, blah. Brandon Nimmo said, no, no, no. And damn, did he go to town for you with 2 dingers and 9 RBIs and a shitload of total bases. And Trey Turner, he said, this week is a warm-up for what he's going to do. So I don't know if you're aware, when he said this week, that referred to last week when he cranked it to a tune of 429 average over the week span. That's just a tune-up. He knows Moneyball's waiting for him. He knows what Moneyball had to say. He knows that he's going to play well this week. Now, Moneyball, you did not play well last week, so let's hope that you do play well this week. Maybe it'll be an up-down, up-down, up-down team. We can all hope. Well, actually, yeah, up-down is going to result in a non-championship, so that's fine with me. Rough last week versus the commish. It was your shit week, 75 total bases. But you still had a chance all the way up until the very end. A Max Muncy walk, a Max Muncy single, double, triple, dinger, hit by pitch, anything would have got you a tie. But unfortunately, he got an out, and you lost batting average by just a thousandth of a percent right there. I wasn't upset by that, seeing as how I am the commish, but it's unfortunate for you. Your team's not hitting. It's not really pitching, for that matter. You've made the least amount of moves so far in the league on the waiver, with only 7 on the entire season, you and Anthony. So one team it's working out for, one team, not so much yet. Let's bust those analytics into place. I want to see what you got. I know your team can be better than this. Unfortunately, it's not going to matter what team you field this week, because I think That'll Do Pig is going to pick up the dub in our final matchup. So we've got commish, large annual deferrals, 2 snaps, a twist, and a kiss. Sale, Camp almost made it. Funky Cheese, off constantly, and That'll Do Pig picking up our dubs this week in the, I don't even know what the name of our league is anymore, Battle of the Leagues. Until next week, I'm the host, your commish, the commish, and I'll see you next week.